Hello and welcome back to my channel and another episode of my Sims 2 Uberhood. So today we're here with the Broke household. Last time we checked in with the Brokes was in the scripted event episode where Brandy gave birth to little Chloe, who is over here sleeping. Oh no, she's not, she's over here crying. Fair enough. And in that episode, Beau also grew up to a child. He's also crying. Brandy looks like she's about to. And Dustin just looks like he's checked out mentally, so everybody's doing wonderfully. Anyway, before we get into this household, I do want to give Brandy a secondary aspiration. Now, in the past I've played her as a romance secondary, but I used my own calculator this time that I made myself, and she showed up as a pleasure secondary, which I think makes just as much sense. I mean, ultimately I see pleasure as sort of romance light, so it's not too different. So let's go ahead and give her that one first of all. I've decided not to give Brandy a degree, partially because I don't think her family would have been able to afford it anyway, but I don't think she was really interested enough to bother with student loans and grants and whatever else. I think she had Dustin quite young, so I imagine she just sort of accidentally fell into motherhood, and she loves it, obviously, she's a family sim, but yeah, I just don't think university was ever really on her radar. Dustin, however, could end up being the first one in this family to go to university. He currently does have the want to. I'm not going to lock it in though. I want to see if he's still got that want tomorrow. He does grow up in about 2 days, so while he probably will have the want to go, he's also going to have to keep his grades up. At the moment he's got a C+, so at the moment he'll be okay, but he's like just barely okay. Like I'm saying, Sims who get a D can't go, so if he slips in the next day or two and drops down to a D, then he won't even have the opportunity to go, let alone be able to afford to or anything like that. But if he does end up wanting to go and also gets the grades to go, we'll have them take out a loan or something. I think I'm going to say university costs 10,000, so it'll be a hefty loan. Bearing in mind they've only got 108 simoleons right now, it'll be a big deal for them. But I think Brandy does know that Dustin's not going down a great path, so I think that she's in the frame of mind at the moment where she'd basically move mountains. If he wants to go to university, she'll make that happen, no matter how many loans she has to take out, you know. So yeah, we'll see. I think the main thing for Dustin is going to be his grades, because he is so close to getting a D, and especially bearing in mind he's got his job in the criminal career still, which obviously takes up a lot of the time that he could be working on homework or his needs even. Yeah, it's going to be a bit touch and go for him, I think. I do have a mod that makes the teens and children go to do their homework at 7 o'clock, and if they're not in the mood, like Dustin clearly isn't at the moment, that's sort of how I get some variety on who succeeds and who fails. So yeah, it might well be that this is just another thing that pushes him towards a D, the fact that he can't seem to manage his homework right now. I think he's going to kick the bin as well, which isn't great. Thanks, Dustin. Yeah, it would be nice if Dustin went to university. Obviously, he's on a bit of a precarious path at the moment with the criminal career and everything, so it'd be a shame for him to just continue down that into adulthood. I think that he could really get his life together. Not that he needs university to do that, of course, but it might be an opportunity for him to maybe gain some confidence, I suppose, in his own abilities and stuff. Because I do think that at the moment, Dustin he sees himself in a certain way. He sees himself as somebody who's never really going to amount to anything. So it'd be nice for him to have that confidence boost if he wanted to. Oh, Beau's also in a precarious situation with his needs. I suppose we haven't actually shown him to his bed yet, so we better wake him up and send him to his bed. We did buy him one, but I don't think they realise where it is until... Did you just kick the bin? Oh, for goodness sake, Dustin. I'm calling it now. I'm not going to realise at one point that he's knocked the bin over and they're going to get cockroaches. I can already see it happening. Do not kick that... I want to kick something at the moment. I mean, well, at least he's picking up her... Did he eat it? What the hell just happened? Maybe Dustin's more troubled than I thought he was. It is, however, time for everybody to head to sleep, so we're just having Brandy sort Chloe out, and then she'll head to bed. The boys are already in bed, and we'll see what everyone wants to get up to tomorrow. And when I say everyone, I mean Brandy, because Dustin and Beau will be at school, of course, but we'll see what Brandy wants to get up to tomorrow. It's nice and peaceful for a little bit when everyone's asleep. No crying, no arguing. It's lovely. And people are starting to wake up. Dustin's coming to tuck Beau in. He's a good big brother. I mean, I say that, and then he immediately went over to play on the pinball machine and wake Beau up, so maybe that was him apologising in advance for waking him up, I don't know. The joys of sharing a bedroom. So let's have Brandy come and look after Chloe and make some breakfast for everybody. Realistically, I think it's unlikely she'll actually be able to make breakfast before Dustin and Beau head off to school, but we can give it a go. I do think it might be Chloe's birthday today as well. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I just sort of remember getting the final day notification just before I finish a scripted events episode, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I guess we'll find out later. Okay, and Dustin and Beau are heading off to school, Beau to his very first day, so that just leaves Brandy home alone with Chloe. So Brandy's just had a pretty chill morning. She's done a bit of cleaning, watched a bit of TV, now she's having a bath. Dustin will be home soon, so I'm curious to see what grade he ends up with. It says they're slipping, which isn't great. So let's see the damage. Oh, C-, that's not too bad actually. He can still go to college on that. Not as bad as I thought. He does have another day still to get them up further, but that's also another day to get them down further, so it still could go either way at this stage. He does have work in about half an hour though. He brought home a friend from school who's not wearing the school uniform. I guess the friends don't, but his friend's gonna have to just hang out here with Dustin's mum while Dustin goes to work. But we do desperately need the money, so that is fine. Brandy does also have the want to get a job, which I do want to do for her at some point, but I don't trust the nannies in this game, and so just while Chloe is so young, I think Brandy needs to stay at home because there's nobody else to look after her. I mean, I know Dustin could quit his job and do it in the afternoons, but that doesn't help with the mornings, so I think what I'll do is I'll wait for Chloe to become a child so that she goes off to school, and I believe can stay home for a little bit on her own. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think she can, so if Brandy's home like at 4 or 5 or something, she can be home alone for a bit. But then to be fair, by that point Beau will probably be a teenager who can look after her as well. For now though, I think Brandy does need to stay at home, so they are going to rely solely on Dustin's income for a little bit, but I do want her to get a job as soon as she's able to, yeah. So Dustin's going to head off, earn a bit of money for the family so that they can hopefully afford the bills tomorrow. Beau is back from school as well. He doesn't seem bothered about his report card, but what has he got? A C. It's alright for a first day especially, not bad. I know the whole story with this household is that Brandy wants Beau, and assumedly Chloe as well, but I know the focus is initially on Beau to go down a different path than Dustin. She really wants to give him the best start so that he can get an education and, you know, make something of himself. It's almost like she's given up on Dustin a little bit, which is a bit sad, but hopefully he can prove her wrong. Okay, so it is nearly 6 o'clock, so I guess we'll find out in a minute if Chloe's going to age up tonight. Well, bearing in mind we've got the notification that Dustin's going to age up tomorrow, but not Chloe, I think it's going to be tonight. So yeah, Brandy's got the help with birthday action queued up, so let's go ahead and let her age Chloe up. I've also just checked because Dustin's about to get home any minute and he's due a promotion, so let's see if he gets one. And it's happening at the same time as Chloe growing up. I almost missed it. I know I'm jumping around a bit, but it's literally happening at the same time. So we'll age Chloe up and we'll see at the same time because I'm still not sure if he's got a promotion yet. No! He hasn't, and I also didn't have a good angle for Chloe. I had 2 jobs and I achieved neither of them. I don't know why he didn't get a promotion though, because he's got the skills for it. He doesn't need any more friends or anything. So that's disappointing because we could really have used the money, and he doesn't have work tomorrow, so that's it now for that job. He's not going to get a promotion there at all, at least not in his teen years. Obviously he might well continue this job into adulthood, but for now that's it, which is a shame because we really need that money. As for Chloe though, she's all aged up, so this is what she looks like. She's got grey eyes. I don't know if I remembered that or not, but that's different to Dustin and Beau. I believe Dustin and Beau both have Skip's blue eyes, whereas she's got Brandy's grey eyes, so it's quite nice that she inherited those. I do have a more realistic genetics mod. Basically, in the vanilla game, black and brown hair is equally dominant, and blonde and red hair is equally recessive, and then brown and dark blue eyes are dominant, and grey, light blue and green eyes are recessive. But the realistic genetics mod, black and brown hair is still equally dominant, but then blonde hair is more dominant than red hair, which I felt was realistic. And then brown eyes are dominant. I believe green eyes are like mid-dominance, with grey and both blues being recessive, which I thought was more realistic because it felt a bit strange to me that dark blue eyes was more dominant than like green and grey. But that's why she's got grey eyes, because in the vanilla game, in the vanilla game she would be black hair and grey eyes because she would be a clone of Brandy, but without this mod in the clean template she would have dark blue eyes because they are technically dominant over grey eyes, but with the mod I've got they're actually equal because that makes more sense to me. And I'm hoping that over time that means we get a more realistic like genetics set. I know there's a hell of a lot of redheads among the pre-mades, But in real life, red hair is quite rare. So I think over time, red hair will become less and less common because blonde hair will dominate it and brown and black hair will dominate it even more. It may end up a bit less varied in terms of genetics, but I think it's more realistic. So I think in real life, most people have dark hair, and maybe not most people have dark eyes. I don't actually know the distribution of dark eyes. I think there's a bit more variation there, but certainly dark hair I think is the most common. But yeah, that's Chloe in a little blue suit that fuck knows where Brandy managed to find that one too. Probably hand-me-downs from Beau going to his dad's funeral or something. I've just managed to make this incredibly sad, but it's the truth. That's probably where she got it from. I was going to say that maybe this colour isn't appropriate for a funeral, but then maybe Brandy just had to go to a charity shop and she had to take what she could get, and she maybe couldn't find a black one. The other thing I keep forgetting to talk about is their personalities. Chloe is a little bit sloppy, a little bit outgoing. She's very lazy and serious, but also very nice. She fits right in, basically, into this family. Perhaps with the exception of her seriousness, because both Brandy and Dustin are more playful, but Beau is quite serious. So I think that they'll probably get along quite well, hopefully. Anyway, I am going to have Brandy come and make some food for everybody. After she's fed Chloe, of course. Dustin is coming and doing his homework though, luckily. And he's not in a bad mood. I mean, he needs to have a bath, but he's doing okay. So he might actually be able to get that grade up a little bit. Beau, however, did refuse. So he is not off to a great start, but he's got plenty of time to catch up. So most people have gone to bed already, except Dustin. So we'll just send Dustin to bed and see what grade he gets tomorrow. See if he can get that C- up or if it's going to go down even further, because that is going to determine whether he goes to college or not. Okay, so it's the next day. Everybody is starting to wake up. Dustin and Beau will head off to school soon. I'm very interested in what Brandy's wants are. So we're going to have her look after Chloe, get her a bottle and sort her out and make some breakfast. And then I'm excited to explore her wants, because she's got some interesting ones. So Dustin and Beau are just heading off to school. I was a bit excited about Brandy's wants because she's got the want to go on a date and have a baby. And I was thinking about fulfilling some of those. However, I remember she's got Chloe and Chloe is in dire need of attention. She might get to fulfill them later if we can get Chloe down for a nap a bit later. But for now, I think we're just going to have to focus on Chloe, focus on the child she's already got instead of popping out more. And despite Chloe being the only kid she has home, I'm still struggling to take care of her. So probably a good job she doesn't have more. We'll put Chloe down for a nap, and now Brandy can have some time to herself. So I know that we're probably going to end this household extremely soon. Dustin is pretty much about to get home like any minute now, and assuming he gets the grades, I do want to pause his household quite quickly after that and leave it so that he can go to university at the end of the rotation, because I don't want to risk him aging up too early or anything. But I also really want to pair Brandy up with somebody. We haven't really had time because she's been so busy with the kids, but as Chloe is finally down for a nap and she's got a moment to herself, I do want to see if we can get her to go on a date with somebody. Now, if Dustin does go up to university, then we're going to end up pausing this household on a date, which isn't ideal, and I'm probably going to be very confused when I come back to play it at the end of the rotation, but I really want to know who we might pair her up with. So in terms of chemistry, she's got chemistry with John Burb and Trent Traveller, and while she does also have a want to be friends with Trent Traveller, I think he's got enough women on his plate for now, bearing in mind he's already cheating on his wife with Bella Goth, and expecting a baby with her, by the way. And I don't want to go for John either. Effectively, they're both married, and I want to try and stay away from people who are already in couples if I can help with it. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to break the crystal ball mod out and have Brandy look at the online dating apps, see what options she has. So let's have it ignore teens and elders, and also townies and NPCs. I think I'm actually also going to ignore young adults, because even though we don't have anybody in university at the moment, I think what I'm going to do is allow 10 years either way for Sims to date. And while Brandy's not old by any means, I mean, she does have a teenager who's about to head off to uni, so she's perhaps a bit old for a uni student. So I'm going to ignore young adults as well, so we can look for playables and full adults, and that's it. So let's find her a man. Okay, so we've got quite a lot of uni students who've just aged up, so they're perhaps a little bit young for her because they are literally like 22 and she's, I don't know, 35 or something now. It's not the biggest age gap in the world because she was a young mum to Dustin, but I want to avoid them if we can. And then we've got Kent Cap, who is gay, so he's not going to be much help either. Let's order them by chemistry and see who she's got the most chemistry with. I mean, I said that the uni students, like the ex-uni students, are too young for her, but they're exactly 10 years younger than her. And I did say give or take 10 years either side. So maybe exactly 10 years we'll say is fine. But yeah, Kevin is exactly 10 years younger than her, so I'm almost tempted to go with Kevin. I know he's a family sim, so they would be quite a good match together, I think. It's interesting because I fully thought Kevin would probably end up with Jane Stacks, and he still might because, you know, they're not going to get very far on this date. Even if he says yes, he might not even say yes, but this isn't going to be like a new relationship. It's not going to be enough to take him off the market. But yeah, I just really thought he was going to end up with Jane Stacks, and it's kind of interesting if that's not going to happen. So let's have Brandy meet Kevin, I think, even though it almost feels a little bit odd because he feels so much younger than her. Okay, so now that these two have met, I suppose we just ask him on a date straight away, see how he feels about it. They do have 2 bolts of chemistry, which is good. That is definitely a good foundation to build on. So he seems positive about it. So they're officially on a date. Well, I suppose all we'll get round to this episode is having them do the friendly interactions and just getting to know each other a little bit. Because, like I said, there's no way they'll finish his date before we're done here, assuming Dustin wants to go to college. Speaking of Dustin, looks like he's arriving home. We got a notification to say that he's doing slightly better at school, which is promising news. Looks like he's got a C+. And as Dustin has retained the want to go to college this whole time, I am going to lock it in. The Brokes only have 82 simoleons. Currently, they can't afford their bills, and Brandy can't afford to buy anything for anyone. I mean, Chloe wants some more toys, she can't have them. I don't even think that the fridge auto-stocked last night, which means that they're running low on food as well. Like, the situation for the Brokes is really dire financially. So how they're going to send Dustin to college is going to have to be with loans. Now, for most households, what I would do is have them take out a loan on the hacked laptop, but they can't even afford the hacked laptop, so that's not an option. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to make a note of it that they owe $10,000 to send Dustin to uni, and they're going to just have to hold on to that. It might be that when they can afford the laptop, I'll get them to get that and take it out officially. I might just remember it and then deduct it manually. I know that it's not necessarily the most realistic. I know that families who are struggling this much financially can't really afford to send the kids to university, because regardless of the university fees, obviously there's a lot of other bills that come with it. But we're living in a fantasy land where, yes, it costs money and you might have to take out loans, but there is more support for poor Sims who can't afford to go to university. So we are going to say Dustin can go, and we're just going to have the Broke household with an IOU. Hopefully Brandy and Kevin's date goes really well and Kevin leaves quite a nice, expensive gift. So yeah, what I'm going to do is leave this episode here. We'll come back to it at the end of the rotation when we send all the Sims to university and finish off their week then, and obviously send Dustin away. Oh, I don't know if anyone's curious as well about which one he'll be going to, because I did mention in our Dreamer episode that I'm going to allocate them universities based on grades, because Dirk ended up getting a B, I think, which means that he's heading to Sim State University, but Dustin only got a C, so he's actually going to go to La Fiesta Tech, which I'm considering to be like the lowest standard of university, I suppose. But yeah, he'll be heading to La Fiesta Tech, so he's not going to the same uni as Dirk. I'm quite excited as the rotation goes on to see which Sims are going to end up in classes together, because I am going to move them into the same dorms in each university, so there'll be a bit of a mix-up of all the neighbourhoods where Sims can get to know each other and live with each other, live with the people who are the same age as them and stuff. But anyway, I am going to leave this household here. Next episode, we'll be going over to the Pleasant household, and we can see if Angela and Lilith want to go to college, and also see if Daniel and Mary Sue can save their relationship or not. So if you were here, thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment and subscribe if you wanna, and I will see you soon.